weaknesses and challenges of military operatives in the Northeast and further urge Nigerians to support the military in their operations. We have here, on your invitation, bureau chiefs, news editors, defense correspondents, and other hosts of journalists for you to brief them and at the same time have an interface with them.
From the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, my special assistants, and other aides. Gentlemen of the press. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to this meeting, which is also doubling as a press conference. I stated a meeting with you this week as part of my ongoing consultations with key stakeholders in the information and culture sector. Since I assumed office last month. Since the meeting is coming only a few days after my Saturday trip to Borno State, where I led some journalists, both local and international, to visit the areas liberated by our gallant military, I decided also to use this opportunity to brief you on the visit. I will now go straight to the briefing and then take your questions after. Let me say without mincing words that all of us Nigerians owe a debt of gratitude to our men and women in uniform for their patriotism, sacrifice, and service. I say this because of what I saw during my trip to Maiduguri, Konduga, Kaure, and Bama last Saturday. This visit left me, and indeed all members of my entourage, in awe of the commitment and reality of the military to our country's peace and unity. From Maiduguri, where the command and control center, as well as the headquarters of the 7th Division, are situated, what we saw are committed men and women in uniform, starting from the highest echelon of the military to the lowest rung of the ladder. The morale of the troops is quite high, and they are well equipped from what we saw, even though I must say that the provision of platforms for the military is a continuous process. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonisaki, himself briefed us at the Command and Control Center at the Memana Cantonment and was very categorical in saying, and I quote, "The reality on the ground is that we are winning the war." He also said the military is working very hard to meet the December deadline. That is very reassuring. What we saw on the ground ourselves corroborated the statement made by the General. In the entire stretch from Maiduguri to Bama through Konduga, a very important corridor that leads all the way to Banki and then to Cameroon and indeed the entire Central Africa, our troops stood ready day and night to prevent any further attacks on the communities along the way. These are communities that bore the brunt of the deadly attacks of Boko Haram, with Konduga in particular being attacked about 28 times. It is a tribute to the ruggedness, professionalism, determination, and loyalty to country of our gallant soldiers that those communities, especially Bama and Konduga, are now free from Boko Haram death grip. At Bama, from where Boko Haram once declared the caliphate, we were stranded at the level of destruction and devastation. Not a single building was unaffected by the activities of the terrorists, and no building is being occupied by its original resident. Even the MS Palace was not spared by the terrorists. But thanks to our heroic military, the town has been retaken from Boko Haram. Another bright side is that the cleanup of the town, as well as Konduga and Kaure and other villages, have started. The government of Borno State has also started the reconstruction efforts being spearheaded by the State Ministry of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement. In fact, Governor Kashim Shettima assured us that the rebuilding of the first 1,000 homes will start in January 2016. That is next month. In Koduga, the rebuilding process has already started. Gentlemen, what is missing now in the war against terrorism is the civilian component. The need for all Nigerians to support our gallant men and women in uniform, and the need for them to own the war. This is not a war for the military alone. It is a war for all Nigerians. This is where your expertise is most needed, to inform our people about the heroics of the military, about the progress being made in the war, and the need for all Nigerians to own the war. On our part, this ministry will soon initiate a process to bridge the gap between the military and the media, and the structure will include top military and intelligence officials, as well as senior journalists. The essence is to ensure a smoother information flow with a view to keeping the media better informed, so they can in turn better inform Nigerians about the war that is now largely won. We also plan to use the media to sensitize Nigerians to be more security conscious, especially now that the Christmas and New Year festivities are approaching. Gentlemen, I thank you for listening. I will now take your questions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. So, distinguished report for, tell us your name so that we master.
I'm Yusuf Ali. I work for the Nation newspaper. In this country, we will no longer witness the space.
And I'm confident that by December, the military would have achieved the objective of, one, substantially decimating the capacity of the Boko Haram insurgents in a manner that they will be unable henceforth to launch the kind of spectacular attacks they used to launch. I'm confident, and I know for a fact also, that they've been dislodged from their strongholds. They no longer enjoy the kind of structure, organization, and cohesion they used to enjoy. Make no mistake about it. This is not a regular war. This is not a war where you sit down and sign armistice and sign peace and say, from today onwards, there will be no more shooting. From today onwards, there will be no more bombing. No. This is a guerrilla war. This is an insurgency. And what the government sought to achieve, which I'm going to achieve, is that by the end of this month, the Boko Haram will not be in a position to hold any territory and say we are operating from this territory. Now, on the issue of whether there will be bombings or there will be attacks on soft targets, there's nowhere in the world that you end this kind of thing overnight. It will taper off gradually. But what the government has set out to do, which they are going to achieve, is to decimate the capacity of Boko Haram. Don't forget that the Bama, where we were, was the headquarters of the caliphate. They were calling the shots from there. They had their own government. From there, they were ruling, everywhere. And don't forget also that before now, 20 out of 27 local governments in Borno State alone were under defense control of the Boko Haram. Now, anybody who has studied insurgency all over the world will understand that once it's not like that, they are decimated and decapitated, they go and attack, soft targets, schools, hospitals, motor parks. And I think this is where we as Nigerians will need to come in. We must be conscious of these things. We must also be able to help the military by giving timely information. And when we see suspicious movements, suspicious people, we should be able to alert the military. We should also avoid unnecessary congregation, because this is the only thing they are capable of doing now. Don't forget that even in countries like France, where there is even no insurgency, the capacity of terrorists to unleash, mayhem is not underestimated. In countries like Colombia, where supposedly the insurgents have been routed, 25 years after, we are still going to have this kind of snippets, lone wolf bombing. But I can assure you that by the end of this month, our military would have so much decimated the capacity of Boko Haram that they will not be able to pose the kind of threat they used to pose before.
Okay, thank you. The man in front here.
Honorable Minister, 2 kilometers to Chibok was attacked. But my question is, if a place is liberated, is there no sign of leaving some security, even the police? I don't know the synergy they are having with the police now, because the police is for internal security. They are supposed to hold the ground. But this gives these people the leeway. After the soldiers might have flushed them away, and they discover the soldiers are away from that, they go back there and attack. So I don't know the synergy the military is having with the police, so that once they are liberated, the police stamp their foot on that place, so that we can't have any sort of attack again. And secondly, sir, we've gone there several, but I have observed that the mines have been planted in a lot of areas, and we don't have mine sweepers. And it's hampering the operations of the military. I don't know what the government is doing, because it's something that the military needs urgently to clear the mines so that they can move forward. Thank you, sir.
Now, I'll take your second question. You see, the minesweepers, actually, I think we'll discuss with the commander of the war theater. The military is going not only with bulldozers also. And the truth of the matter is that, were you on the trip with us?
No, sir.
Now, anybody was on the trip with us here?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes. See, between Maiduguri to Bama is a distance of 89 kilometers. And every inch of it was secured by the military. Now, the issue of the military dislodging the militants and they're coming back does not occur at all. But as I remember in particular, that when we were being briefed by the commander of the theater of war, was that it's only after the reconstruction and resettlement have taken place that the civilian aspect, police, the Security Defense Council, Corps, immigration, and co will move in. Honestly, those who are with us will tell you that there are over 6,000 houses in Bama. Not one of them is standing. Now, so you cannot reset. You see, the police and the other kidnappers cannot come in now until after the settlements have taken place. I think the only place we can see even some elements of life coming back gradually is probably in Konduga, because people are coming back there. But yes, it's true, and this is why we must also give kudos to both the military and the Borno State government. The military is not just handling the fight; they are also starting with huge humanitarian, problems, and the same thing with Borno State government. Borno State government had rebuilt, I think, Konduga 3 years, and 3 years they were destroyed also by the insurgents. So the same thing happened in Bama. And all over, the other axis, there's even more development and more settlement. But we were actually deliberately asked to visit that axis because that's where the horror of war is much more pronounced. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Is that you inherit both liability and asset. And in the case of the Chibok girls, I can assure you that the military up to now is leaving no stone unturned. Now, unfortunately, by the time we came in, I think we came in almost more than a year after the girls had been abducted. And up till, I think even on Sunday, I know that shortly after we left on Sunday, there was another onslaught on Sambisa forest. But there are a few things that the military does that cannot, for security reasons, be made public. But I can assure you that the government is very concerned about the return of these adults, and of course, it looks safely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Honorable Minister, sir, my name again is Hmic.
These boys played. I mean, we saw the human role they played. As a matter of fact, during interaction with the commanders, they told us that even as recently as 2 days before we came, these civilian they were instrumental in identifying some people who were wanted and who came in with the IDPs. So please, I think apology, because the young people are doing a lot. And in fact, I think the commander actually said that they actually even working towards reinstating them back in society. And I really advise them that let's look at this. Some of them are quite very intelligent. Let's see those of them can join the police, some that can join the military, some that can even be part of our just architecture. Because without them, the military would have succeeded as much as they did. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gentleman.
Yes. I will talk about control platforms. In any war, to continue to add more and more platforms. I mean, no army is ever complacent and says, I have enough platforms. But again, for security reasons, you don't tell the whole world what platforms you have already, what one you don't have. As for the question how the strain of the funds affected the progress of the war, there's no doubt it has mightily. And I'll say this because when we got to Burma, we asked, when was Burma liberated? When was Portugal liberated? Burma was not liberated until about 4 months ago, which means it was only during the administration that Burma was liberated. Definitely, this is not a forum to cast aspersion on the last administration. No, this is not what we come here. We have come here to evaluate the state of the war. But to answer your question, definitely it did affect the progress of the war.
Okay, there's another.
About the first spending, because I don't know. I don't think that maybe that is very much the issue. But you see, two things I noticed was the commitment of the military at the highest level. When we got to Maiduguri, we were received by the Major General, who is actually the commander of the war theater. And they drove us to meet both the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Army Staff. Interestingly enough, I had caused to speak to them a day or 2 days before the visit. Now, when we got there, we saw that both the Chief of Defense Staff and the civil staff actually relocated to Maiduguri, and with the top brass of the army. Now, the briefing we took from the commander of the theater of war clearly shows that this is a revamped, renewed, and with with confidence, competence, and proper coordination. When we got to Burma, between Maiduguri and Burma, we saw that virtually every inch was policed with armor tanks and the like. And when we were going from Maiduguri to Borno, there was air cover for us. I think this fighter jets, about 2 of them, giving us air cover. And then the morale of the army in Burma was fantastic. I was impressed, probably because I'm a civilian, but this is why they've been. If when we go to, for instance, in Maiduguri, you see a whole Major General. His office is his bedroom. You saw the bed alongside his table. And when we got to Burma, and they showed us where the general in charge was also living, it was a tent. But look at the morale of these young men. Amazing. So I think that we have a completely rejuvenated army. The morale of the army is very high. and from what we saw during our visit. So I think it's a new army, and that is what the political program has made so far. As I think we made mention of this. One thing that is clear that anybody who goes to the Northeast today would not need any convincing that we need a Marshall Plan. Anybody that just makes a visit there, you see, it's easy to comment about Boko Haram from the comfort of one chair in Abuja or Lagos. But when you go to these villages and you see the kind of destruction that went on, you will know that there's a need for massive government intervention. Now, that's the physical aspect, there's the humanitarian aspect. Went to the IDP camp in Burma, and I think all of us came back very sober. Because you see children who they're not even sure they are going to survive to the next day. You see, I saw a mother who was breastfeeding twins. She needs to breastfeed herself. I'm serious. You saw it. Now, and they are sleeping in the elements. And anybody who has been to Maiduguri in Hamatan will know what I mean. And these children were oblivious to what was around them. They were the ones clapping hardest over us. That's not understanding what we were saying. They are the victims of a war they knew nothing about. Now, so the issue of massive intervention, Marshall Plan, I think it doesn't represent that. We need it. Otherwise, if these people are not, if these people are not taken care of, we're going to have the same problem in the future. Like the governor of Borno State explained. He said it was easy for Boko Haram to recruit, to get to recruit because of hardship, unemployment, lack of education. So we need as much as possible and as urgently as possible a lot of intervention to rebuild the Northeast. Like the students, I think they are very well fed. I don't think anybody is. You see, in Burma or Kodu, there is somebody living there, so nobody can even give them food to talk about. And there was, I think, I remarked because they entertained us, and I was asking the general there, where do you get this kind of very novelist we are here? They laughed someone. So I think they have been well taken care of. So the issue of I think it's not correct. We did, at a point in time, we admitted that about 20 local governors of 27, from Borno State under the control of the Boko Haram. And if you remember, one of the very first problems the Borno State government had with the then president was when he came and said, listen, let's tell the world the truth. Our soldiers are ill-equipped. And we are the Boko Haram people are better equipped and they are taking on our territory. So at no point was there any attempt that I know of to this administration to hide the truth from people. What I know is that most of the fighting and the reclaiming of the land that took place only under this administration.
Thank you. Yeah.
The national security campaign is about me and you, but it's restricted only to the issue of security. Not just in the Northeast, but security, generally. In other words, what are we doing as Nigerians to help, security? If you know your neighbor is a thief, report him to the police. If you know your neighbor does not come home until about midnight and you see him with funny characters, report him on time. If you notice any strange groupings or movement, report it. That kind of campaign we want to launch on the national security campaign, and the fact that please avoid crowded areas. These are areas where the Boko Haram can come, or not even Boko Haram, anybody that is unpatriotic. That campaign is different from the orientation campaign, which is change begins with me. That is campaign about how we do things. That is campaign about that. We introduce discipline to our life. We introduce certain values to our life, because we realize that all of us are responsible in one way or the other for the mess we are in today. It's not only just those who stole our money that are responsible for discipline. Those who received the stolen money are guilty also. Those who spent out of it are also guilty. Those who are adulterating, drugs are probably killing more people than the Boko Haram people. Because if anybody is selling adulterated drugs, you go there thinking that this drug is good, it kills you and you don't even know. So everybody in Nigeria today has a role to play. So that change begins with me campaign. It's a campaign that's going to run for a long time, parallel with the change on national security. I think it's not correct to say that the federal government is not doing anything about it. This kind of situation we handle in a very subtle manner. I'm aware that the federal government is doing all it should do to tame this agitation. And you remember that even last week, all the 19 northern governors met hurriedly to ensure that there's no reprisal attack. And that was a major achievement. Because if there had been a major reprisal attack, probably what we'll be seeing will be completely different. But the government is doing something. So all of this we are doing, we cannot tell the world. But I can assure you that the government is concerned and is taking it very seriously. And we are making consultations with those who we should consult with. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Since the President Day, when Asmat was sworn in, was he held meetings with the various regional blocs, ECOWAS, Central African Bloc, the Lake Chad Basin Commission, and enlisting the support of all our neighbors, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and Benin. And I think many of them have also contributed troops, to the multinational joint task force, to fight Boko Haram. Clearly, this is not a war. This is a war we cannot win without the cooperation of our neighbors, and I think they are doing, their best to assist us. As to what is the government doing about ensuring that that territories captured are not retaken? Well, from what we saw, it will be difficult for any of our territories to be retaken. Our soldiers are very alert, and they are everywhere along the road. I would say they've secured the road right from Badugry to Bangi. And I think when we were in Bama, the commander told us that even on Saturday morning, some people wanted to go from Bangi to Bama, and they were asking for escorts. But he said, look, the road is free because two people even came on their own, and the road was very secure. And that they liberated about 255 women, from the enclave. So our soldiers, I think, they're up to the task. Rest assured. Frankly speaking, frankly speaking, the dilemma of government is how do we redress past wrongs, injustices, and at the same time not violate the rights of the individual. But what I want to assure you, nobody who is responsible for putting this country where we are today, whether by sponsoring Boko Haram or by stealing us blind, will go unpunished. But we shall follow due process. Thank you. Actually, not that I didn't get the question, but let me tell you something. You see, the fact that the security authorities will tell you that they have been able to infiltrate the Boko Haram cell in Abuja is evidence of their efficiency. Now, we don't want to frighten the whole populace by saying, oh, we have this Boko Haram here or there. No. After all, about 3-4 times in Lagos, they were busted. That shows that our intelligence is working. About a month ago, we have about 2 of them arrested in Abuja airport, another in Lagos airport, in airport. You see, even countries that are not at war will continuously battle with, insurgency of some sorts. Why do you have the MI16? Why do you have the CIA? Why do you have the CIA? Because you know that in any country, not everybody is going to be patriotic. But I can assure you, Nigeria is by far safer with all the most countries in the world. I don't give the example of Spain. For more than 50 years, the separatists, the Basque movement in Spain, have been on. It did not prevent people like Messi deciding to go and play football in Spain. And millions of people watching the Spanish, the bullfights in Spain, or France, for instance, or Brazil. But it's the way you manage this information that is important. And that's why I believe that we all have a role as media people. Why we're not suppressing what is going on, but we must manage in a manner that we emphasize more those things that unite us, those things that are on the bright side, than those things that divide us. There's nowhere in the world that you don't have this kind of thing. After all, only about a year ago, Britain almost lost Wales. The Welsh people live and Scots also. Or you take the example of Canada, where the separatists have been at it for a long time. So it's the way you manage. And you see, in Canada, I know, for instance, like the management that has kept that country as one. So, as for I have absolute confidence in our security, and that this country is very safe. Abuja is very safe. I can assure you. Now, as to what's happening with the Boko Haram suspects, you see, we don't have the same legal regime as they have in Chad. And yes, to me and you, probably it's the best is that just shoot them. But supposing there's just one person there who is innocent. So I think we should allow security authorities to sift through these people, vet them. But I can assure you that it's not in the interest of the military to protect or hide anybody who is Boko Haram. Because the first victim will be them. They are the ones at the war front. They are the ones that are sleeping outside. They are the ones that are in the forest of Sambisa. By the way, when I asked some of our colleagues, because when we were was just a few kilometers to Sambisa, and I asked them whether we could make it together. They said no, we can't do it. But these are people, these are ideas, and every day they are facing this. So I believe that we've got to a stage now that nobody in this government will hide any Boko Haram suspect. No. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. We want to thank you most sincerely for honoring our invitation, and we look forward to meeting with you. The Honorable Minister